Hello and welcome to Conversations Worth Your While, a show in which I chat with really cool people about interesting topics to spark, inspire, and motivate both personal and professional change. I'm Linda Bucher. I'm a master life coach and author, a speaker, etc. And I love helping smart, passionate people to lighten their load and unleash their gifts on the world and live joyful, balanced lives. And today I have the pleasure of being joined by Kathy Goughenour of Virtual Training Experts. And today our topic is how to generate more time and more profit through outsourcing. And this conversation is worth your while if you'd love to free up your time and make more money. So maybe you're curious or maybe you're nervous or both about outsourcing, but we are going to cover a couple of really great things with you today. We're going to talk about the obvious benefits of outsourcing, which you might know about, but what we're going to add to that is these obstacles. We've got obstacles, we've got myths, we've got misconceptions surrounding outsourcing, and that's what's probably in your way from actually hiring someone and outsourcing some of this work. And then we're going to talk about how to actually avoid or get over those obstacles so that you can generate more time and generate more profit. So hi, Kathy, how are you today?
Hi, Linda. I'm doing great. So excited to be here with you. And I love that you said that you interview cool people, because that means I'm cool.
You're very cool. Very cool indeed. So today we're talking about how to free up your time and make more money. And so we're talking about outsourcing. First of all, if you can tell us just a little bit more about who you are, what you do, who you do it for.
Great. Yeah. So I'm going to give a quick synopsis. I worked at AT&T for 20 years. They told me I laughed and smiled too much, so I quit. I was a marketing manager there, and I became a virtual assistant back in 2001. And as I grew my business, I realized that I was an expert in marketing, so I could help my clients with marketing. And then I realized that I could actually teach other virtual assistants how to up-level their services so that they could also help at that level. Because when I tried to outsource myself, I couldn't find the quality I was looking for. And so I shifted from doing the implementation work myself as a virtual expert to training others. And now today, not only do I train others how to do this, but I also help people like your audience find, hire, and make the most of their outsourcing.
So you're like a matchmaker for business.
I'm a matchmaker.
All right. All right. Beautiful. Okay. So let's talk about first, there's some real obvious benefits of outsourcing that I know people, are like, yes, if someone else were doing this, it would free my time up. So that's pretty obvious, but what are some other benefits that come with outsourcing that people might not really be thinking about so much?
Yeah, so you can hire virtual experts, virtual assistants, fractional C levels, and it's across the spectrum of the type of people that you can hire who are already experts at what you need done, so you don't have to teach them, and they can work on an as needed basis. So for example, if you have a launch coming up, you can hire them just to do the launch. Oh, yay. You can hire them just to do the launch. And then when the launch is done, you don't have to pay them anymore. You pay them much less depending on what you need done. So that's a huge benefit, is it's on an as needed basis. There is no employee overhead because they're all independent contractors.
That is a really good benefit. And I do know, and it's probably another conversation, but as independent contractors, we have to be, this project work is what's perfect for independent contractors, because the IRS rules are, if they're always doing the same thing all the time, they're technically an employee, and you're going to have those other overhead costs that you wouldn't normally have with an independent contractor. So for project type base, this as needed, and that's really when you're a solopreneur like I am, that's how things come in fits and starts. I'm going to do a launch. I'm not doing a launch every week. I'm doing one launch a quarter, if that. And it's big and it's a lot of work, and it's all smooshed in time. And I'm trying to do it myself because my launch, the basis underneath my launch, the back end of it is all Infusionsoft. My assistant doesn't know Infusionsoft. My assistant knows what she knows, but she does not know Infusionsoft. So guess who's doing that? I got to create landing pages. Guess who's doing that? I'm trying to make my landing pages be a beautiful energetic, heartfelt invitation for those who it will really benefit, without having that icky sales, like, oh, copy this marketing splash page and it's gonna sell. Like, that's just too icky to me. So I feel as if I've got to write that myself, because it comes from my heart. But I got to create the web page, I got to create the copy, I'm writing the emails. I'm like, what? So it makes me like not want to do launches, because it's so much all squished up. So this as needed basis, that where if it could just relieve that pressure. So someone interviewed me and I just said, listen, here's what I'm doing. Here's why it matters. Here's why it's so cool. Here's who it's for. Here's how it's going to benefit them. And then they go off and just put all that in the emails and on the pages. And then I just have to look at it and go, let's change this to that and change this to that. And then they go make the changes. Oh my God. I'll be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that is exactly how this works. That is exactly how this works.
Yeah.
And there are people out there who, I work with, who can do exactly what you just described. They specialize in Keep, which is Infusionsoft. I think I think Infusionsoft didn't want to be called Confusionsoft anymore, so they changed to Keep. But now it's Keep Confused.
Right.
Keep Confused.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, I just went through a 5-session coach training from an Infusionsoft coach. So now I can make my own campaigns in about 30% of the time it was taking me. So that was, they have great customer service, put it that way. Okay. So
they absolutely do have great customer service. I agree.
Another thing that's an obvious benefit is that you mentioned to me earlier was about how outsourcing will actually help you scale your business. Talk about that.
Yeah. So as you and I were talking, a lot of people tell you, and they also tell me, I want to clone myself. Oh, yeah. Right. So when you work with an independent contractor, you're essentially cloning parts of yourself, right? Not your entire self, because you want to find people who are experts, just like you said, at what you need. Are they an expert at Keep? Are they an expert at writing in your voice? Are they an expert at crafting beautiful imagery to put on your website? And sometimes you are lucky and can find one person that can do all 3 of those things. And sometimes you can't. You need 3 different people. And you might be like, oh my gosh, that's going to be so expensive, 3 people. No, because they're all independent contractors. They will all give you a project price for exactly what you need, and you'll just pay for that.
Right. I love that. And so that kind of brings us to these obstacles and the myths and misconceptions that surround outsourcing. And so you kind of, one of the things, the first thing that comes to my mind is, well, nobody's going to do it as well as I can, which is absolutely not true. And I think what's under that is people think of virtual assistant. So they're thinking, admin stuff, like, yes, maybe someone who can like book my calendar and some things like that, but I need Infusionsoft help, or I need graphics help. So we're thinking, it's someone who can only be an assistant, not really an expert. People forget about that. And B, we're thinking that we got to just find one person who can do it all, because we're the one person doing it all right now. And that's certainly not either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I 100% hear what you're saying a lot from, and in fact, even though I'm in this industry, I had those limiting beliefs also, that only I could do it. And the reality, Linda, is that there are lots of other people out there who can not only do what you do as well as you do, but often better than you do. So I remember seeing the Canva images that I created and the PowerPoint Canva that I created like 4 years ago before I hired my first graphic designer. And now I see his, and it's like, I thought I was doing good in Canva until I saw his, and oh my gosh, it's like night and day difference, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so it really also dispels the myth about, we say, oh, it's going to take me longer to train someone than just do it myself. And if it's an expert, probably it's not going to take you longer to train them. They're probably going to tell you, well, I can probably do that a little better. Just tell me what you want and I'll create it. And also we think though but it's going to take my time to manage them. But that's certainly got to be a lot less time than it takes me to do it myself. Right.
Yeah. So a couple of things: when you hire somebody who is truly an expert at what they do, they not only and here's what I call it. I call it, don't give me homework. If I'm going to hire somebody, I don't want you giving me homework.
Yes.
I want you to be able to,
Exactly.
So so the people that I train, I teach them how to write contracts so that when they talk with you, they can put together a proposal, they can put together a contract. You don't have to do any of that work. They do it. They give it to you and you review it and you edit it if needed. Then they onboard you. So they have onboarding procedures to make everything super easy so that they gather all the information they need to complete their project in a very easy, limited time frame. It doesn't take a lot of your time. And then they have it. So they don't ever come back and ask you again, what was that brand color? They know it, right? And then you together set deadlines for what you need done. And they meet or exceed those deadlines. And if they don't do all of those things, they're not the level of expertise you're looking for.
Yeah, that's really nice. I love that. Like, there's a lot of independent contractors out there. And one of the big obstacles is like, I don't know how to find the right person. I don't know how much, I can't even fathom how much it's going to cost. If I start interviewing people, how do I even know what I'm asking for? I'm not really sure. So finding the right person seems like too big a job. All right. And that's what we're trying to do, is not do more. We're doing too much already. So like, oh, I got to find a person. Right. And so then we start thinking, well, I'm going to need a bigger income stream before I can even begin to hire someone. And then what? And then what? So I love that now what you do is you train people, and you also offer this service of matchmaking that we talked about, which is beautiful, because it's that fear of, what if I pick the wrong person? I invest in them, I invest my time, I invest my money, and then they're not even doing the thing I thought. Because I have had that happen before in my experience, and it really leaves you with, some cold feet. Like, I don't think I want to hire another expert, because this was with an expert marketer. And, I probably spent $20,000 and my ROI was a big fat zero. Not one extra dollar came in from all of that working with that marketing company for a year. Did they know what they were doing? Maybe for other companies, sure. But for my heart-centered coaching business, it didn't work. That one size fits all marketing didn't work. So it was a $20,000 learning investment. I always think of things as investment, right? For what not to do, right? But exactly, like not just cold feet, but like $20,000 less in the bank account to invest in. And so then what I do, I started taking it all back on myself again. So yes, this fear of, I don't know who to hire. What if I waste all that money again? That's the fear, right?
So a couple of tips. Number one, and I'm going to kind of start at the end and work backwards. So I highly recommend, because I made the same mistake, Linda, of hiring somebody for a full contract without ever having worked for them before. So don't hire them for this big full contract. Hire them for a 90-day contract. 90 days is what you'll pay for, right? Not the whole project or whole year if you haven't worked with them before, right? So what's a 90-day project that you can do with them, and have them put it in? Again, they put it in writing. They tell you what they're going to charge. You negotiate with them from there, right? I don't like this in the contract, or, would you edit this? They will do that work. Don't let them put that on you. If they're going to put that on you, they're not the right person for you, because they're not. Remember when you're very first dating somebody and they're in their best behavior? That's what these people are like. Everybody is like, when they first meet you, they're on their best behavior. So if you already are seeing red flags, do not hire them. Okay. So hire them for a 90-day thing. Now, if it's something small that you can ask them to do to show you what they're capable of, I highly recommend that. Like, for example, a graphic designer, ask them to create something for you based on what you share with them. I love to interview 3 people, give all 3 the exact same little project to do, and they should be willing to do it for you for free. Okay. Like create a social media graphic image using my branding. Here's my voice. Here's the info. Give all the same stuff to all 3, have them do it, look at it, and then you can go, oh my gosh, this one really got it. And those 2, no. Right.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I love that. So those are some real good pragmatic tips that we can offer to people. Yeah. And so let's back up just a little bit. So as a life coach, right, these beliefs, like, right, this is my area of expertise. There's the limiting beliefs, right? The belief like that the belief that I can't let it go. I have to control it all. And what's behind that is our fear and our ego. And control saps our energy. So not only are we having our time sapped, but we're having our energy sapped, and it saps our enjoyment of what we did. When we first get into business, we're like, you get your DBA or you get your LLC or whatever, and you have this beautiful idea of what you're going to be giving to the world. You're like, I'm launching this business. I'm so excited. You throw yourself a party, right? And then as you go and you're working and you're doing it all yourself, some of it becomes drudgery and some of it becomes resistance. You don't even do it. Like I was just like, not even on social media because personally, I don't care about social media. Like if I didn't have a business, I wouldn't have a Facebook account, like, because I really don't care what other people are eating for dinner. Seriously. And I'm an in-person person, right? So without a business, I wouldn't do all that. And so I was overwhelmed and I didn't want to do it. I didn't know how to do it. It felt phony. It felt yucky to get on there and talk about my business. So we have resistance. And that comes from these same fears. What if I do it wrong? Whatever. And we're trying to control things, so that happens with a lot of people. And it happened with me too, but as a coach, I know how to move through these limiting beliefs. I know how to get through. I know how to recognize that's just fear in disguise, and to move through and find the subconscious thoughts that are there. Because we talked a lot about what we know consciously, these conscious objections that we have. These are things that are right here. But underneath that, there's things like the fear of failure and the fear of success. What if it takes this to do it? And I've raised the bar there. Can I sustain that level? Do I even want to sustain that level? Right. So we have those are limiting beliefs that it's going to take a lot and it's going to keep taking a lot to get to this level of success. And because we have these fears of, and what if it doesn't work? What if the money doesn't come in to be able to sustain, right? So these fears of success, the fears of the ability to sustain, the fears of, do I even have what it takes? And because there's little voices in our head from all the people who criticized us in our past. So there's a lot of beliefs that are underneath those obvious obstacles that we have to hiring and outsourcing our work. So there's some mindset shifts that we need to do. That's what we do when we find these beliefs. We question them. We say, wait a minute, is this really what is truth? And usually it's not truth. So mindset shifts, like, first of all, it's not a cost. It's an investment, right? It's an investment in your business. It's an investment in your future. It helps you to shift your mindset. That you can think of it like this. There are things that only I can do, right? Only I can coach my clients. And I'm more expensive. My time is more expensive than a virtual assistant or a virtual expert, okay? So when I outsource what I don't want to do, what I have resistance to doing, what I'm not an expert at, what I still would need to grow and learn for a year before I got good at it. Not only does that free up my time, but it frees up my energy so I can enjoy, once again, what I love to do. So this is why I have been outsourcing, and I will continue to do it more. And something that you brought up, two things I'd like you to speak to real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up. You said actually that this is a profit generator. So I'd like you to expand on that. And then also you mentioned about how we can start slow.
Yeah. Okay. So profit generator. I just want to mention, and by the way, I've moved my next meeting, so I got extra time now. Okay. I just messaged them. So you're so fascinating. I don't want to leave yet. So when you think about what you're brilliant at, Linda, what you are brilliant at, what each person listening to this is brilliant at, I believe the universe has given us those skills, those gifts. Yeah. And if we're not using them, we're not fulfilled, and we're not fulfilling why we're here. And I know for sure that my skill that I've been given is not to do techie stuff. That is not my skill, right? My skill is to help others believe in themselves and have the confidence to grow their businesses. So think about what your skill is and focus on that. And when you do that, then hire others who their skills, their gifts are whatever it is you need. Because I will tell you, there are people out there whose gift is to help you be incredibly organized, to help you keep together, to help you write beautiful copy. And the way it becomes a profit generator is that, number one, you mentioned you make more than what you're going to pay the virtual expert. So for example, if you're earning $200 an hour and you pay, well, for me, I did a time audit and I discovered that I was spending 10 hours a week. And by the way, that's the average. If you Google this, what's the average time people spend on their email and calendar? It's 10 hours or more a week. And I couldn't believe it until I actually proved it to myself. So at $200 an hour, 10 hours a week, that's $2,000 a week. Times 4, I always do things in months, right? 4 times 2 is 8. That's $8,000 a month in profit that you are losing. And let's say you use half of that extra time to relax and half of it to work. That's 4,000 extra dollars you're making. So if you paid somebody even $1,000 a month, which is, that's going to be somebody really, really good at this, to do that for you, you have just generated more profit for yourself. And that's just one tiny example.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you. Thanks. So, starting slow. So I've had a virtual assistant, gosh, for 13 years since I started this business. Basically, I recognized right away, there are things that only I can do, and there are things that someone else could do. And so I've always had a virtual assistant pretty much consistently for 13 years. But and then I had an intern who did a lot of good techie stuff for me, but he was so temporary, he couldn't stay very long. Plus my job was to teach him, because that's the only way we can get credit, college credit as an intern, is I had to teach him. So I knew, I have a background in systems. I was a programmer. I was an IT project manager. I have a,
wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I'm a techie.
Beautiful, brilliant, and techie.
You're my new favorite person, Kathy. Okay, thank you. So anyway, and he worked out beautifully, but when a semester ended, he ended. So we didn't get to finish the project at the time I wanted to finish the project. But I recognized that, first of all, for a 21-year-old, I'm sorry, I want to say kid, but that's not true. But, young man, he was sharp. And it was kind of like hiring my clone, because I remember when I got out of college, that's how sharp I was. He anything I taught him, he got the concept. He knew how to test. He knew how to do all this stuff. And it really opened my eyes to I don't need somebody who's been doing this for 45 years to, there are people who get it, who are brilliant and bright and sharp, and there are other ways to bring in some help. Now, the only thing with bringing another intern in is you've got to know 4 months in advance. So because they're trying to find their internships for next semester. I don't know what I'm doing 4 months from now. So it's not always not always working really well. But the fact is, he was like a little mini clone of me and my 21-year-old self. So there are people out there like that. And it's beautiful. And so you brought up, to me, you can start small. So Linda, you've had this assistant, you've got an assistant, right? But now who I have is I have someone who I actually want to be my virtual COO, right? I want her to be the chief operation officer and manage a team. So team building. And also that part-time virtual COO is also what people don't recognize is something you can outsource. You don't have to have a full-time employee, right?
That's exactly right. And in fact, they've come up with a term for it. You know how people are, they always come up with a fancy term for it. And it's called a fractional C-level. So, fractional means a quarter of the time they spend with you, or, an eighth of the time they spend with you, and the rest of the time they spend with all the other clients. So they're an independent contractor, which means, like most of us who are solopreneurs, we don't need a full-time COO or CFO or CMO. So hire a fractional one if you need somebody at that level, but that is not going to be your first hire. If you have never hired anybody before to help you, please don't start with a C-level. Start with what you really need. Now, a lot of you are going to go, I don't know what I really need. So that's why I offer a free matchmaking session, because part of what my team and I do during that session is help you think through what, we can brainstorm all of the things you would really like to get off your plate, and then zero in on what would be the first thing to do, what your budget is that you really want to do. And then we refer somebody to you at that level.
Right. I love that. That's beautiful. I'm going to take advantage of that. So
I mean, you can literally start as low as $250 a month.
Right.
If you want an admin to do 10 hours worth of work a month for you. Right. Now, a lot of people who have never worked with a virtual person before will think 10 hours a month. I want 10 hours a week. Virtual independent contractors who are experts at what they do get everything done 3 times faster than an employee.
Wow. Yes. Okay.
So however much time you think you need, if you're used to working with employees, divide that by 3 at a minimum.
Right. And however long it takes me to do it also.
Oh my God. And I end up messing it up. Just like yesterday, my VA put together an email sequence to go out. I used Kajabi. I went in to edit it and managed to delete a button that she put in there. I don't know how I did it.
Uh-oh.
She's like, stay out of there. Just tell me what you want edited next time.
Oh, yeah. I might be guilty like you. Like, I want to get in there. But that's part of that techie background. I like to play. And so it's fascinating, though. Like, I know I talked about people wanting to stay in control, but I am what I call a multi-passionate conscious expander. So conscious expanders like me, we love to learn and grow in a 360-degree way. So we're expanding mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We are more kind of people. We are expanding in such a way that we are creating more joy in our lives, more life in our lives. We want to have more impact on the world. We want to know more, do more, be more, share more. Okay. So that's conscious expanders.
Wow. I love that. I've never heard that before. That's amazing.
That's because I made up the term, but it just explains who we are. And all my clients are conscious expanders. Just that's who the universe brings to me. But also I am a multi-passionate high achiever kind of person. So high achievers, there's lots of high achievers out there, right? But I'm multi-passionate, and so are many other people. Multi-passionate people go from thing to thing to thing to thing because there's nectar in all of it. So we can't land on one thing and do that one thing well and just stick with that one thing. Like the kind of virtual experts that we may need to hire, that someone just does that thing and they do it super well. That's not even in our purview because it's unnatural for us. We would feel constrained if we had to just land on one thing and just do one thing. We like to do, like, here's what okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So as a coach, yes, I am a master certified life coach, and I coach people through limiting beliefs, and I help them to get out of their own way so they can give their gifts to the world, right? So yes, I love to do that. But I also just finished ghostwriting a book for somebody. I also did the cover design and her bookmark and her business card and made her a website to go with it all because she's so non-techy, like opening emails is the only thing that she can do. But she's had beautiful life experiences. So I did that for her. I did an IT project for someone for a not-for-profit where I shopped all the systems that they could have used and found the one that would match, and then I implemented it. So I do all of that. And then I like to have my fingers and toes in Infusionsoft because I like to test my programming prowess. Oh yeah, I still got it back from the 1980s when I was a COBOL programmer. Right. So like there's this multi-passion. It's like, we don't want to give things up, right? We like to be able to dabble. So as long as we share that with the people that we're working with, that we're hiring, that we're outsourcing, that they get to know that, I'm hiring you to do my graphics, but I have an opinion because it's fun and I'm kind of artistic. And what if this, what if that? You're probably going to come up with something better, but I want to not just like outsource it and be done and go and live with whatever they give me. Like I want to like get in there a little, and be part of the process.
Set those expectations up front. That's what you talk about when you're considering hiring them, when you're originally interviewing them, let them know, here is how I like to work. Tell me how you like to work. And if they say, I don't want anybody messing with any of my stuff, that they're not for you then, Linda.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's really nice. That, you know, and to give people permission to be matched with someone who matches how we do what we do. That's really
Exactly.
important. Yeah. I love this matchmaking.
Personality matches are just as important as the
Oh,
skills
yeah.
matches.
Yes.
Because like I chat a lot, and there are some people who don't want to chat at all. And I'm an over communicator. They're a total under communicator. We are not going to match. We're going to drive each other crazy.
Yes, I get what you're saying. So awesome. Well, this has been really great. Thank you, Kathy Goughenour, for being on Conversations Worth Your While. If you can just tell us how people could connect with you and anything that you have to give to the audience, I will put it into the description of this video.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, first of all, the free matchmaking with a virtual expert. Just go to virtualexpertmatchmaking.com. And there's a directory so you can get some ideas if you want to of all the different services that the experts I have trained. They don't work for me. They're independent contractors, but I have trained them. You can get an idea of that if you want to, and you will see how to schedule your free matchmaking session. And that'll last about 30 minutes, and we'll find out what you need, and then research to find the best top 3 matches, and then give you those 3 matches. The other thing is, if you're listening to this and you think, oh, I didn't know that virtual experts could, number 1, make 6 figures and up, and number 2, do all of those amazing things that Linda just mentioned, contact me. Go to virtualexperttraining.com. There's a lot of free stuff on there, free webinars, free downloads, and a free Facebook group, and you can learn more about what it really means to be a virtual expert.
Right. So you can serve the world by packaging your zone of genius to help others who are serving the world.
That's right. That's right. And you know, Linda, as you can tell, you said, I think you said almost everybody you've interviewed has said, I want to clone myself. Mm-hmm. This is how you clone yourself.
I know.
By hiring experts.
Right. Yeah. And I love that you've opened that up because, you know, I always thought of it as just being the admin level, the lower level. I never thought about, I thought an expert would want like a big giant, like that $20,000 a year contract that I had, which was too much, where I just want project-based, but I want someone with the expertise that I don't have to train. So I love that you've opened that up for me. You've probably opened that up for our audience as well. And I definitely appreciate that. Yay. So
thank you so much, Linda.
So much. So I'm Linda Bucher, and I love helping smart, multi-passionate high achievers to get out of their own way and unleash their potential so they can give their gifts to the world while living balanced lives. So remember to open the description where you'll find these free tools from Kathy and from me. I have a really fun quiz that you should take to see how ready you are to get off the island of playing it safe so that you can go big in whatever you're doing. And once again, I'd like to thank you, Kathy Goughenour, as well as thanking our audience for sharing your time with us today. And so until next time, make sure that you've made this conversation worth your while by fueling the spark that it ignited. Thank you.